So we're going to continue with the HTML Canvas graphics primitives, and now we're going to look at the quadraticCurveTo. So here's a diagram that shows how the quadraticCurveTo function works. Basically, you're drawing from 2 points, and normally, of course, that would be a straight line across the points. But we have a control point that influences the curve of that line, so it's no longer straight. And the way that's done is that the midpoint of the control point to the initial point, which here is called the context point, is going to be tangent to the curve. So basically, this control point creates these 2 midpoints between the beginning and end point of the segment, and they have to be tangent, and that defines the curve. Later on, we'll see that the Bezier or cubic curve has 2 control points, and it works in a similar way. This diagram is taken from the HTML5 Canvas cookbook, and I'm actually looking at it in Safari using the institution subscription that we have. So it's a really great book, and I'd recommend, if you want to learn more about this, to look at it. Okay, let's go back to Dreamweaver. Here's my sample code. It's very similar to what I've been doing all along, of course, and the only difference here is I've removed a bunch of the randomness. So I've decided to draw a series of lines essentially across the width of the screen as a horizon, if you will. Again, my screen is 800 by 800, so if I set the Y value to be at 400, that will be halfway across the screen. Or really halfway down, right? Okay, so control Y here. Whoops, that's the control point, sorry. Start X is 20. Start Y is canvas height divided by 2, which is 400 because the canvas is 800 by 800. The end X and the end Y just starts a little ways off the sides of the screen. So Start X is 20 pixels in from the left-hand side. End X is 20 pixels in from the right-hand side. And then again, you can see that Start Y and End Y are the same. And so the idea is that I'm going to draw a series of lines that connect the 2 points at either side of the screen, but I'm going to alter the control points so we can see how they work. So my first control point starts at 20, and I've actually used this program to do a few other things. So let me change this back here. So let's set the Y control point to be at 400, which puts it right in the center of the screen. Now we'll come on down here, and you can see this is all the same as what we've seen before. I set up a random color at the stroke style, have a random line cap. I move to the first point, which on that diagram is what is called the context point. And then the quadraticCurveTo starts at the context point, and it draws to what here is end X and end Y. And then control X and control Y. So end X and end Y are never going to change. They're always going to be 780 for X and 400 for Y. And then the control X and the control Y will change during the loop. But initially I'm just going to change Y. So we'll go ahead and draw the curve. And then you can see that we'll close the path, which ends it, and then we'll stroke to draw that path. And so let's go ahead and look and see how this works. And I'm going to go ahead and fire this up in Firefox, I think. Oops, forgot to save. And there we go. So it looks like I've got something off. That's not what I intended to do. Well, what the hell, I guess I'll just fix it and we'll see. So let me go back in here. So the control points start at 2040, and Control X should, yeah, see, I changed the wrong one here. So I wanted to change the Y, not the X. Yep. So let's see. Oh, wait a minute, that's right. Let me think about this for a second. So Control Y is on the vertical axis. That's the one I want to change. And then Control X should stay the same. It should be for, see, I got these wrong. That's what was going on here. Okay, sorry about that. 400, 20, save. Let's go ahead and render this again. And since I have this open, I can just reload it. There we go. Okay, so now you can see that basically the control points are moving down. As they get closer and closer to the line, it becomes a straight line between the two endpoints. All the lines are joined from the same endpoints. And then as it begins to move below the line, it distends the line out. So that's what I was intending to do here. Now let's go ahead and add some code in here to draw the control points. That'll be more interesting and even help better to show how they affect the curve. And then we'll play a bit more with this. So I'm going to come on down here and basically what I want to do is draw my control point. And I don't know that there's a way to actually like just turn a point on, but we can draw a very small segment from, well, I'll show you here. So let's go G2 dot line 2 and then so I'm going to move to and then draw 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and just put this in. G2.move to Control X, Control Y, and then G2 draw line 2, line 2, Control, and then we'll just make this X plus 1 so we have an actual line and not just a point, and Control Y we don't have to change. Okay, and let's see, close path. Let's see. So I'm not sure if I need to create a new path here or not. Let's go ahead and just assume that we have to do that. Let me grab these. There's the stroke to close off the last path. And then we'll come down here. Oops. Begin the path. Move to and draw to. Those are the commands I had already. And then again, stroke. Stroke. All right, let's see what happens. Hopefully I got this right. I think I did this a little bit differently before, so it might require some tweaking. Do I have that open? I forgot. I closed it. Okay, so Firefox it is. Oh, good. So it worked fine. And so then you can see, now again, the line width is varied. We can refresh it here. We might get a little bit different effect. Yeah, you can see. So because that's random. So again, this color matches. So here's the control point for the outermost arc. And if we look here, there's a very faint control point for that one. There's the wide control point for the wide line. So again, you can see as the control points move to the horizon, the line becomes straight. As they move away from the horizon, it starts to distend the other way. Alright, let's play around with this a little bit. Let's go ahead and move our control points over here and see what sort of shape we get then. So again, I'll just leave this open. And essentially, I'm going to change the X position of the control point. So I'm going to move it over 200, which is 1/4 of the way. Whoops. There we go, 200. And if I look into my code, that should not change. Yeah, okay, so that should work fine. So we'll go ahead, we're going to redraw the same thing, only now the control points will be here. You can kind of visualize what the new code will look like. So there we go. Alright. And let's just try one more, shift it even further. So control point equals 100. And there we go. So now they're even further over. You can see how the control point affects the affects the geometry of the line. Alright, and then one last one. Now I'm just going to show off a little bit, but I think this is a cool thing. Let's go ahead and set both the control points to 2020 and now have them both increment as we go down. Alright, there we go. Control S to save. Pop on down here, refresh, reload. And so there you go. Now you can see the control points are on the diagonal and you get that kind of effect. Again, I've got the random on there for the size of the line and the color. It's kind of cool. You can see how we could do some real interesting effects simply by adding a JavaScript interval and just having this change and randomize the points or have them move across. We can almost get animation going there with that kind of effect. So this is kind of nice. Okay, so that was the quadratic curve 2, and we did play quite a bit with that one.